New Employee Safety Orientation Program, presented by Occupational Safety and Environmental Associates. We are the workplace experts. New Employee Orientation. The purpose of this orientation is for the employee to understand the basic safety procedures and requirements set forth. This program is not intended to take the place of any job or task-specific training. After reviewing this program, you will need to fill out the New Employee Safety Orientation checklist that is provided. Session objectives. Understand your role in safety and security. Get safety information. Identify, fix, and/or report safety hazards. Prevent and respond to fires and other emergencies. Respond to accidents and give first aid. Evacuate the facility safely. Ask yourself, is it safe? If you don't know, ask your supervisor. Every site will have a site-specific safety plan. Ask your supervisor to see it. Facts about OSHA. OSHA is an agency of the federal government. It is responsible for promoting workplace safety nationwide. OSHA was created by the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1970. It has the authority to oversee compliance with safety and health laws. What OSHA does: develops and enforces safety standards, encourages employers and employees to reduce workplace hazards, conducts research in occupational safety, establishes the rights and responsibilities of employers and employees, approves state occupational safety and health programs. OSHA standards. OSHA regulates most aspects of workplace safety and health. OSHA will help us comply with the regulations. The state also regulates workplace safety. Employer responsibilities. General Duty Clause, Section 5A1 of the OSHA Act. Quote, the employer must provide a workplace free of recognized hazards that are causing or likely to cause death or serious physical harm to employees. Unquote. Protecting employees from hazards. Employers must protect employees from workplace physical or chemical hazards using the following priority: engineering controls, work practice or administrative controls, personal protective equipment or PPE. Remember, PPE is the last level of control. Identify safety hazards. Keep your eyes open for safety hazards. Fix what you can. Report what you can't fix. Suggest ideas for safety improvement. Personal protective equipment. Use the right equipment for the job. Inspect PPE before every use. Make sure PPE fits. Follow manufacturer's instructions. Clean and store properly. Clothing and PPE. General work clothes shall not include loose clothing, long coats, flowing ties, and rings. Protective eyewear must be worn at all times when performing certain operations or in an area where eye hazards exist. Gloves may be worn only on jobs specified by supervision. Never wear gloves near rotating machinery. Hearing protection will be worn in designated areas where levels are above 85 decibels. Guards, safety controls, or other devices are not to be removed or tampered with. Foot protection. Have impact-resistant toes. Thick, durable soles. May have metal insoles. May or may not be electrically conductive. Eye protection. Have impact-resistant lenses. Have side shields on prescription safety glasses. Must meet ANSI Z87 specifications. Noise. Affected employees. Any employee exposed to noise at or above the 8-hour TWA, time-weighted average, of 85 decibels. Affected employees must be notified and included in the hearing conservation program related to audiometric testing, engineering and administrative controls, hearing protective devices, and training on how to use hearing protective devices. Examples of hearing protection: ear muffs, ear plugs, canal caps. When are gloves required? When there is a potential hand injury from burns, bruises, abrasions, cuts, punctures, chemical exposures, etc. Respiratory protection. If required to work in an area where suspected disturbed asbestos-containing material, ACM, is present, then a respirator must be worn. Do not use a dust mask. Must use a tight-fitting facepiece either half or full face respirator equipped with HEPA filter cartridges, preferably P100. Respirators. If respiratory protection is required, then personnel must be entered into a written respiratory protection program per 29 CFR 1910.134. Medical clearance and monitoring, annual training, annual fit testing, respirator selection, maintenance, limitations, and changeout schedules. Other PPE, safety glasses, hard hats, disposable Tyvek outer suits, gloves. When work is complete, use good personal hygiene, wash hands before eating or leaving the site. Portable ladders. Ladders used to gain access to a roof or other area must extend at least 3 feet beyond the point of support. Always remove a defective ladder from service and tag or mark it dangerous, do not use. Never use a ladder in a horizontal position as a work platform. Never use metal ladders near electrical equipment. First aid. Call for professional medical help. Bring help to victim. Check victim's ABCs. Check victim's vitals. Interview victim. Use first aid measures. Infectious diseases and bloodborne pathogens. Wash hands often. Use precautions when giving first aid. Treat all blood as contaminated. Use PPE. Clean up thoroughly. Get medical attention if you're exposed. Bloodborne pathogen standard. OSHA's bloodborne pathogen standard prescribes safeguards to protect workers from health hazards when exposed to blood and/or other potentially infectious materials, such as human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, hepatitis B virus, HBV, and/or hepatitis C virus, HCV. How does exposure occur? Cuts from contaminated sharps, such as razor blades, broken glass, etc., blood and blood splatter cleanups after an accident and/or injury, and contact with mucous membranes, for example, the eyes, nose, mouth, or broken, cut or abrasion, skin with contaminated blood. Electrical safety. Only trained and authorized employees can conduct lockout, tagout procedures for machine repair. Only trained and authorized employees are allowed to work on electrical circuits within the facility. Workers in elevated locations who experience a shock can fall, resulting in serious injury or death. Use extension cords properly. Don't run them across stairs or aisles. Don't fasten them with nails or staples. Don't overload outlets. Don't use plugs with bent or missing prongs. Obey locks, tags, barricades, and electrical warning signs. Electrical burns. Most common shock-related non-fatal injury. Occurs when you touch electrical wiring or equipment which is improperly used or maintained. Typically occurs on the hands. Very serious injury that needs immediate attention. Machine guarding. What must be guarded? Points of operation. All parts of the machine which move, such as flywheels, pulleys, belts, couplings, chains, cranks, gears, etc. Feed mechanisms and auxiliary parts of the machine. In-running nip points. General guidelines. Always wear safety glasses in the work area when required. Do not operate any machine unless authorized to do so. Use the proper tool for the job. Inspect tools before use. Do not leave tools out on tables or machines. Never wear gloves or loose-fitting clothing, or use rags to clean machines with rotating wheels when they are running. Never use compressed air to clean machines. Ask for assistance when moving heavy objects. Ensure you have sufficient light to see clearly. Aisles should be kept clear at all times. Store materials in such a way that they do not become a hazard. Keep the floor free of oil, grease, or other liquids. Do not walk behind someone operating machinery. Do not wear tennis shoes. At a minimum, wear leather, thick-soled shoes. Shorts, tank tops, jewelry, or loose clothing are not appropriate attire. The Big Four. 1. Consumption of alcoholic beverages or the use of illegal drugs during work hours. 2. Reporting for work while under the influence of alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. 3. Horseplay or fighting in the workplace or on company property, and/or 4, possession of firearms or weapons in the workplace or on company property. These actions are grounds for immediate dismissal. Exits. Exits must be clearly visible and marked with an exit sign. All exits must be free of decorations or signs that could obscure the visibility of the exit door. If the direction of travel to an exit is not clearly apparent, signs must be posted along the exit access directing you to the nearest exit. Emergency evacuations. In an emergency evacuation situation, shut off your machine and/or equipment if possible, walk directly to the nearest exit, then go directly to your designated meeting place so your shift leader or designee can complete a head count, and stay in your meeting area. Do not leave or go back into the building until given the all-clear permission to do so. Check the site-specific safety plan and/or the host location's emergency evacuation policies and procedures. Portable fire extinguishers. Portable fire extinguishers are available for employee use. They are mounted, identified, and maintained for your use in the event of a fire or emergency. But always remember, you must be trained before using any fire extinguisher. If you are not, immediately sound the alarm, report the fire, and leave the area in accordance with your emergency action plan. Asbestos. What is it? Asbestos is the name for several naturally occurring minerals found in 2 categories. Serpentine, curvy flexible fibers. Chrysotile, white asbestos. Amphibole, stiff straight fibers. Amosite, brown asbestos. Chrysotolite, blue asbestos. Anthophyllite, green asbestos. Tremolite, and actinolite. Desirable characteristics of asbestos: fire resistant, melts at 800 degrees Celsius, insulator, heat, noise, and electricity, high tensile strength, reinforcing agent used in flooring tiles and transite board, good friction and wear properties, brakes and clutches, does not rot, mold, or corrode. Commercial uses. Limited to 3 main types of asbestos: chrysotile 95%, heat-resistant flexible; amosite, less common, heat-resistant; chrysotolite, least common, acid-resistant. Anthophyllite, tremolite, and actinolite have little commercial value. Types of asbestos products. Cement products, 70%, floor tile, 10%, paper, textile, 10%, all others, 10%. Health effects. Asbestos primarily affects the lungs. Asbestos particles are small enough to get trapped in the small air sacs, alveoli, of the lungs. Asbestos, how controlled? As long as it is undisturbed, it does not pose a hazard, non-friable. Must be removed under controlled conditions by trained personnel using approved techniques and wearing the appropriate personal protective equipment. Asbestos, engineering controls. The best engineering controls is to remove it. However, this may not be the most practical in all circumstances. Keep surfaces painted or sealed. Put up barriers so it can't be disturbed or damaged. Asbestos work practices. Work practices to reduce exposure. Be aware of the types of material that may be ACM. The facility owner should have identified all ACM and either labeled or removed it. Don't disturb it unless necessary. As long as it is in a non-friable condition, it poses no hazard. If found in a disturbed state, damaged, or dust and debris on the floor, then report it to the facility owner. Do not clean it up unless you are trained to do so. If you must work in an area with ACM, then clear area of unnecessary personnel, use wet techniques to wipe down surfaces. Do not sweep dry floors, which will cause dust. If floor or other surface must be cleaned, then use a HEPA vacuum. Use local exhaust ventilation. Use proper PPE, respiratory protection. Material Safety Data Sheets, MSDSs. Detailed information sheet prepared by manufacturer or importer. Available for every hazardous chemical or substance. Contains information that enables you to prepare for safe day-to-day use, enables you to respond in emergencies. Hazard communication. You have the right to know. what chemicals you work with, their hazards and risks, how to protect yourself from them. Labels. Manufacturers' labels include identity of the chemical, name and address of the manufacturer, appropriate hazard warnings. All containers must be labeled. Regard unlabeled containers as dangerous. Do not remove labels. Replace damaged labels. Ways chemicals enter the body. Inhalation. Breathe through the mouth or nose. Absorption. Touches skin. Ingestion. Swallowed. Ocular entry. Through the eyes. And injection. Punctures the skin. Recommended work practices for hazardous chemicals. Prior to using, inspect equipment for damage and ensure adequate ventilation. When using, don't smoke, eat, or apply cosmetics. Never smell, inhale, or taste, and keep off of hands, face, clothing, and shoes. Silica. Crystalline silica, also called free silica, is an odorless crystalline solid that is found as a dusty air contaminant in many industrial processes. It is the cause of the lung disease silicosis. Cement crusher. The manufacture of cement and bricks requires that raw materials used, including silica, be reduced in size. The raw materials are crushed into small stones, then ground into fine powder. The result is that a great amount of silica dust is created and becomes airborne. Exposure to the dust continues during further handling and processing of the material. Sandblasting. Abrasive blasting is used to remove paint, oils, rust, or dirt from objects. The particles of sand break down into dust when they hit the objects being cleaned. That's the source of silica exposure in abrasive blasting. Silicosis. Long-term exposure to free silica dust may result in silicosis, a form of disabling, progressive, and sometimes fatal pulmonary fibrosis. It has been known by such common names as dust consumption, grinder's rot, stonemason's disease, miner's asthma, and potter's rot. Chronic silicosis usually takes 20 to 45 years to develop. Dust concentrations of 10% silica or less are often capable of producing silicosis. Early stages produced little or no respiratory impairment. Although early chest x-rays may be noted, significant changes may not be seen until after 10 to 20 years of exposure. Respirators. At concentrations of airborne silica equal or less than 10 times the PEL, air purifying particulate filter respirator. At higher concentrations, a type C supplied air respirator of the pressure demand or continuous flow type with a full face piece, hood, or helmet will be needed. Workers must be trained in the proper selection, use, and care of respirators. Safe practices. Workers should be aware of correct personal hygiene as a way of reducing their risk of exposure to silica dust. Good housekeeping should be stressed as a way to reduce airborne dust levels. Never allow the use of compressed air for cleaning work areas or clothing. Lead in the workplace. Lead is a leading cause of workplace illness. Extremely high levels may cause immediate serious health effects. Long-term exposure to low levels is much more likely. OSHA requires that employees be trained on how to protect against lead hazards. Health hazards of lead. Anxiety, headache, tiredness, or insomnia. Loss of appetite and stomach pain. Numbness, pain, weakness, or twitching in your muscles. Reduced sex drive, sterility, and birth defects. Kidney damage, permanent brain and nerve damage. Effects of lead on children. Children are very susceptible to the effects of lead. Small amounts of lead can harm them. It is important not to take lead dust home on your clothing. Permissible exposure limit. No safe amount of lead. OSHA says you cannot be exposed to lead limits of more than 50 micrograms per cubic meter of air. How lead enters the body. Inhaling lead spray paint or lead dust. Inhaling lead fumes from welding or burning lead paint. Swallowing lead dust when eating, drinking, or smoking. Workplace lead exposure. Cutting or removing lead pipe. Grinding or sandblasting lead paint on metal structures. Using solder that contains lead. bridge painting, remodeling buildings with lead paint, cleaning up demolition sites with lead dust. Personal protective equipment: coveralls, gloves, hat, work shoe or shoe covers, face shield or goggles, respirators. Worn when lead in the air is above the PEL. Must be properly fitted. Medical evaluation required before use. Training required before use. Work practices: don't eat, drink, or smoke near lead. Wash before eating, smoking, or applying cosmetics. Don't wear lead-contaminated clothing home. Store work clothes separately from personal clothes. Fall protection regulation: 29 CFR 1926.500 to 1926.503. Construction sites: all workers who might be exposed to fall hazards. Recognize fall hazards and follow training procedures to minimize fall hazard. Scaffolds, cranes and derricks, steel erection, tunneling, electrical transmission, and ladders and stairways not covered here. Employer requirements: assess site conditions, select fall protection, install fall protection systems, follow safe work procedures, and train workers. Recognize free fall hazards: edges, sloping surfaces, ladders, holes or openings, tools and equipment. When is fall protection needed? 6 feet or more above a lower level. Hazard of falling into dangerous equipment, specific areas or activities, while walking and working surfaces are being inspected. Fall protection systems: fall protection restraint systems, fall arrest systems, fall prevention systems and practices, positioning device system harness, guardrails, warning line systems, safety monitoring systems, controlled access zones or CAZs, covers, protection from falling objects. Positioning device system harness. Harness connected by a lanyard to an anchor as fall restraint. Allows movement around worksite, prevents going over the edge. Guardrail systems. Most common protection to restrain workers from falls. Top rail withstand 200-pound force, mid-rail withstand 150-pound force, toe board withstand 50-pound force. Hole covers. Prevent worker or worker's body part from penetrating a walking or working surface. Required for all holes equal or greater than 2 inches wide. Twice the load of people or equipment. Secured to prevent accidental displacement. Color-coded or marked with hole or cover. Prevent objects from falling. Use screens or panels to prevent tools or equipment from falling on workers. Store materials 4 feet from edge. For roofing work, store materials 6 feet from edge. Use canopies strong enough to prevent collapse and prevent penetration. Keep areas barricaded where objects are likely to fall. Use toe boards. Keep tools, materials, and debris picked up. Don't throw objects down to lower levels, and wear a hard hat. Effective personal fall arrest system. Maximum arresting force of 1,800 pounds. Free fall no more than 6 feet. Avoid contact with lower level. Maximum deceleration distance of 3.5 feet. Designed to withstand twice the impact forces. Inspect personal fall arrest systems. Inspect before each use. Check D-rings, check ropes, straps, tongue buckle. Ensure that parts move freely. Remove defective components. Cell phone safety rule. There is to be no cell phone use anywhere in construction areas at any time under any circumstances. Anyone seen using a cell phone will be subject to the regular course of progressive discipline. If you have any questions, please ask your supervisor. Please fill out the new employee orientation checklist, which will be either in paper or digital form.